Your heart is racing before your feet even touch the floor. You have been awake for like maybe 3 seconds. The alarm might still be ringing, but your brain has already decided with just absolute certainty that something is terribly wrong. It is a wildly jarring way to start the day.
Yeah, it is this incredibly intense physical feeling. You wake up to a tight chest, very shallow breathing, and a stomach that just feels completely tied in knots. And this all happens before you even remember what day of the week it is, let alone have time to think about breakfast.
Right, and you just lie there staring at the ceiling thinking, is this just a bad morning? Did I have an awful dream? Or, much worse, you start to wonder, is this just who I am now? Am I just an anxious person?
Which is such a heavy thought to wake up to.
It really is. If you have ever secretly felt like your own mind is attacking you before you even have a chance to start the day, this deep dive is going to totally change how you see your own mind. We're looking at the hidden gears behind this morning dread.
Because it is so important to understand that waking up with that heavy sense of panic is not a flaw in your character. It
Exactly.
is not a sign of weakness. And it is definitely not a fixed identity. It is a highly predictable and, more importantly, a highly changeable body response.
And setting a clear baseline for this is huge because this happens no matter what stage of life you are in.
Oh, totally. Like if you are in your 20s dealing with the constant pressure of online comparison and work stress, figuring out how your brain actually runs gives you a massive edge.
Yeah.
And if you are in your 30s or 40s carrying that heavy weight of career demands and family pressure, your mind is not broken. It is just responding to chronic stress without a proper off switch.
And what if you are older? Because a lot of people carry this quiet fear that their brain is just set in its ways, like it is too late to rewire how they feel.
Yeah, that is a huge fear. But the science flatly disagrees. The brain's ability to adapt and change stays active at every single age.
Oh, wow. That is actually really hopeful. Okay, let's unpack this. Because the feeling of morning dread is so huge, it is really easy to just get lost in the emotion of it.
Right, the feeling takes over.
It does. But I want to look past the feeling and look directly at the actual machine running under the hood. Why would our bodies intentionally flood us with a chemical mix that makes us feel terrible when we haven't even done anything yet? We literally just opened our eyes.
What is so interesting here is that from a deep human past perspective, your body is not trying to torture you.
It sure feels like it, though.
I know. But it is actually trying to get you moving. It all comes down to a central body function called the wake-up hormone spike. Mostly, we know this hormone as cortisol.
Cortisol usually gets a bad rap as just the stress hormone, but it is really an action hormone, right?
That is a much better way to look at it. Cortisol is an energizer. In the 30 to 45 minutes after you wake up, your cortisol levels naturally take a massive leap.
Like a sharp spike.
A huge, sharp rise. We are talking about a 50 to 75% jump compared to the baseline levels in your blood while you were asleep. And this is a completely normal, deeply needed process.
We need it.
We have to have it. That surge is built to pull you out of sleep fog, raise your blood pressure just a bit, and make you alert and ready to handle the day.
So we fundamentally need that spike just to get out of bed.
We do. In someone with a really balanced inner system, this rise feels smooth. It wakes you up, you stretch, you feel ready to move. And then the hormone levels settle down fairly quickly once the thinking part of the brain turns on, looks around, and confirms, okay, we're in a safe place. No danger here.
Right, no tigers in the bedroom.
Exactly. But if your system has been running on high alert for a long time due to endless stress, lack of sleep, or just constant worried thinking, that exact same morning cortisol spike gets read very differently by your brain.
It sounds like having a super sensitive smoke detector. The body pulls the fire along just to wake you up, but the alarm is so loud and touchy that it goes off just because you are making toast. And it happens way before your brain can even check if the house is actually on fire.
That is a brilliant way to see it. The brain's alarm center is highly sensitive in the morning for people carrying heavy stress. It feels that massive natural wave of cortisol. But because the baseline is already skewed, it instantly tags that surge as a major threat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it starts firing off warning bells to the rest of the body. And the catch is, it does this way faster than the logical thinking part of your brain can wake up to provide any context.
So you have this intense physical rush, your heart pounding, your chest tightening, and your logical brain is still basically asleep at the wheel. It can't step in and say, hey, calm down, it is just a normal Tuesday.
Right. And if we look at the bigger picture, it has to do with the body's stress chain. You can think of this as the body's corporate chain of command. The brain's command center acts as the boss, seeing a demand. It sends a message to the middle manager, which then sends chemical signals down to the factory floor on your kidneys, telling them to pump out cortisol.
And when you are under chronic stress, that chain of command just gets exhausted.
It gets completely out of balance. The feedback loop loses its brakes. Normally, once enough cortisol is in the blood, the boss senses it and tells the factory to stop.
But chronic stress breaks that.
It numbs those sensors, yeah. The alarm system itself sets a new, much higher baseline for panic. So your morning spike is not just a gentle wake-up nudge anymore, it becomes a total flood.
Which perfectly explains why the dread feels so disconnected from reality. You wake up terrified, but you have no real reason to be terrified. Which, honestly, makes the whole thing even more scary.
You feel like you are losing your grip.
Totally. But if this hormone spike is something everyone has, I have to ask, why does it feel like a massive crisis for some of us, while other people just wake up, stretch, and cheerfully start their day?
This is where our daily habits come in. Modern life essentially pours gas on this physical spark. The state of your nerves when you wake up is heavily driven by how you treat your body the day before and what you do in those crucial first 10 minutes of waking up.
So it's not random.
Not at all. Sleep is a huge factor. Getting 6 hours of sleep or less doesn't just make you tired. It actually guarantees a much larger cortisol response the next morning.
It is like a physical late fee for staying up past your bedtime.
A really steep one. And then you add the mental layer on top of being that tired. Think about the overthinking loop, that mental track where we just play negative thoughts on repeat or worry wildly about the future.
Oh, I know that loop well.
We all do. Well, that brain pattern is wildly more active in the morning hours for people with high stress. The mind is doing all this heavy, unwanted emotional lifting during the exact window when the body is flooded with the most stress hormones.
That is a brutal trap. You are physically drained from lack of sleep, your cortisol is hitting its daily peak, and your brain decides this is the perfect moment to replay that awkward talk you had 3 days ago.
It creates an endless loop of stress. But it is not just sleep and thought patterns. Food plays a massive, totally missed role in this morning machine.
Wait, food? Like what we eat for breakfast?
Yeah, blood sugar swings are a major trigger. If you skip breakfast entirely, or if you eat a breakfast packed with refined sugar, you create a fast spike and a hard crash in your blood sugar.
And the body hates that.
When blood sugar drops super fast, the body sees that as a literal survival threat. It releases adrenaline to trigger the release of stored energy just to save you.
I imagine the anxious brain does not realize it is just a sugar crash. It feels the adrenaline and assumes we are under attack.
The brain is entirely reactive right then. It turns a food crash into pure emotional terror.
If physical swings mimic threats, I would guess what we consumed the night before, like having a couple glasses of wine to wind down, might actually be setting hidden traps for the next morning.
That is spot on. Alcohol is a classic false friend for stress. It might help you feel relaxed enough to fall asleep at first, but as it breaks down, it severely wrecks the deeper healing stages of your sleep.
So you aren't actually resting.
Exactly. That broken sleep cycle is strongly tied to a much sharper, more random hormone spike the next day. But beyond food and alcohol, the biggest habit that steals our mornings sits right on our nightstands.
We are talking about the phone.
Reaching for a screen within the first few minutes of waking up is just awful for an anxious brain. You are taking a system that is already peaking in stress, and you are flooding it with a fire hose of unfiltered inputs.
It is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant while your brain is still turning on. You are shoving work demands, global news, and social comparison straight into your mind before the natural wake-up hormone is even started to drop.
Which forces the brain to stay in high alert mode all day.
Okay, I have to jump in here and push back on something because I know we are picking apart morning habits and I need to speak for everyone listening right now.
Sure, go ahead.
If any stimulant raises cortisol, does that mean the morning coffee has to go? Because telling people they have to give up their coffee to fix their mindset is going to be a very tough sell.
What is so fascinating here is that you do not actually have to give it up.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know, right? This is one of the biggest myths out there. The key is timing, not giving it up entirely.
Okay, timing. How so?
Caffeine totally tells the body to make more cortisol. So if you brew a strong cup of coffee and drink it on an empty stomach within the first 30 minutes of waking up, which is exactly when your natural wake-up hormone is hitting its absolute peak, you are stacking a chemical spike right on top of a physical spike.
You are double spiking the system. No wonder people feel so jittery.
Exactly. By simply delaying that first cup of coffee by 60 to 90 minutes, you allow your natural hormone wave to peak and begin its drop. When you introduce the caffeine later, it rides that downward wave.
So you still get the focus.
You get the mental focus, but you completely skip the physical panic attack.
That small shift makes so much sense. Okay, so we have mapped out the body's stress chain, and we see the triggers like the phone fire hose, sugar crashes, and the coffee double spike. But here's the big question. If this feels so awful, why do so many of us suffer through it for years, or even decades, without changing anything?
Because human beings love to make meaning out of things. And we often mistake a chronic physical state for a fixed personality trait. We fall right into an identity trap.
Like labeling ourselves.
Right. We tell ourselves, I am just a high-strung person, or I am just not a morning person. When we turn a totally changeable physical pattern into a core part of who we are, we instantly stop looking for answers. If it is just who you are, trying to fix it feels pointless.
I was thinking about Sarah's story. It really shows that trap perfectly. She spent most of her 30s waking up every single day with her chest super tight. A wave of dread would wash over her before her eyes were even open.
And what does she do?
She would instantly grab her phone, scroll through work emails to try and get a sense of control, and by the time she stood up, she was completely overwhelmed, even on a random Tuesday when absolutely nothing was wrong.
And notice what happened over time. She didn't just build a habit around the dread. She built her whole self-image around it. She assumed she was basically broken, that she lacked the grit other people seemed to have.
But when she finally learned about the wake-up hormone response, her whole view shifted. Just having a physical reason for what was happening in her body took away all the shame. Seeing it as a body issue instead of a personal failing was the key to untangling her identity from her worry.
It is a huge relief when you realize it is just biology.
On the completely flip side, there is Michael's story. His situation blew my mind because it looks so different on the outside. He was a manager who just accepted waking up at 5:30 every single morning. And the second he woke up, his mind would start racing, building this massive mental list of every single thing that could possibly go wrong at work that day.
And he totally did not think he struggled with morning panic. He assumed this was simply what highly driven, responsible people do. He thought feeling constantly one step behind before breakfast was just the normal price of being a hard worker.
Here's where it gets really tricky, though. Work culture actually praises people like Michael. We celebrate the person who is up before the sun, obsessing over plans, trying to get ahead of the day.
We rebrand that panic as hustle.
Exactly. We call it a great work ethic. Society rewards the exact, endless worry that is quietly burning out a person's inner system.
It acts as a mask for deep imbalance. Michael only realized there was an issue when a routine checkup caught really high blood pressure. When his doctor started asking about his daily routines, and Michael finally said his morning thoughts out loud, the truth hit him.
Those mental checklists were not planning.
No, they were an unchecked worry spiral driven by a hormone spike.
And this does not just happen during the work week. A thing called social jet lag seems to explain why this dread can actually hit the hardest on a Saturday morning, which feels totally crazy since you don't even have to go to work.
Social jet lag is a huge issue. If you keep a strict schedule during the week, say, waking up at 6 every day, but then you stay up late and sleep in until 10 on Saturday, you deeply confuse your body clock.
So the body doesn't know what time it is.
Right. Your internal clock does not know when to release that morning hormone spike. That random shifting tangles up the signals, causing the alarm system to fire off randomly and often way more intensely, which totally ruins the very weekend you were trying to enjoy.
Okay, so we have a clear view of the machine now. We know the stress chain can get out of balance. We know the world often rewards this panic, and we know it is not a character flaw. But knowing the parts is only half the work. With all this insight, how do we actively change the morning? Because I want to get into the real gentle shifts here.
Let's build a gentle plan. And the first step is actually fixing a huge misunderstanding. A lot of people think the main goal of fixing morning panic is to reach a state of zero stress. They want to wake up feeling totally flat, totally zen, and with zero tension.
Which sounds kind of amazing in theory.
But the truth is, that is a terrible goal. A totally flat hormone response is tied to deep fatigue and zero drive. The goal is not to silence the body's signal. The goal is to work with the body's natural energy wave, rather than fighting it. You want to steer the boat using that energy, rather than just floating in the rushing water.
So we want the physical energy, we just need to strip away the panic attached to it. How do we start?
You start by guiding the physical space around you. Delay the phone. period.
Just leave it alone.
Keep it charging in the kitchen or the bathroom. Giving your brain just 15 to 20 minutes of space allows that sharp, natural hormone curve to begin softening before it gets hit with heavy mental demands.
Okay, phone delay. What is next?
The second step is light. You need to get natural sunlight into your eyes within the first 30 minutes. Opening your blinds right away anchors your body clock, which makes your hormone release much more stable and steady over time.
Phone delay and sunlight. But what about physical tools? Because when you are lying in bed and your heart is literally pounding in your chest, you need a way to calm down in that exact moment.
This is where we use the body's brake pedal. It is called the vagus nerve. It runs from your brain all the way down through your chest and belly. You can turn it on simply by using slow, long out breaths right there in bed. Make your exhale much longer than your inhale.
And how does that actually work in the body?
When you drag out your exhale, it changes the physical pressure in your chest, which physically slows down your heart rate. The nerve feels that slower heart rate and sends a clear, physical safe signal back up to the brain.
Wow.
It acts as a brake pedal, shifting you out of action mode and into rest mode.
That is amazing. Just changing how you breathe forces the brain to feel safe.
Then you follow that with gentle movement. We are not talking about a hardcore workout here. 2 minutes of light stretching or even just pacing while you brush your teeth helps your muscles physically clear out the stress hormones that are running in your blood.
It gives the energy a job to do.
Yes. After that, eat something with solid protein within the first hour.
Because that stops the blood sugar crash we talked about earlier.
Exactly. It stops the drops that the alarm brain mistakes for a threat.
Those are really solid physical steps. Phone delay, light, long breathing, movement, and protein. But what do we do about the spinning thoughts? Because my brain is still probably racing. I have heard that trying to force positive thinking over top of a stress spike actually backfires and makes the worry much worse.
That is totally true. Forcing positive thinking onto a nervous system that is in a state of high physical panic almost always fails. You cannot just chant, "I am happy," when your body thinks a bear is in the room.
It just feels fake to the brain.
It actually increases your stress because the brain sees the lie, and then you start feeling anxious that you are feeling it being positive.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So instead of fighting the thought, what is the gentle shift?
You simply name the physical feeling. You just watch it. You say to yourself, my chest is tight, this is cortisol, this is my body's normal wake-up response. It's a chemical, it is not danger.
Just calling it what it is.
The simple act of naming the feeling forces your thinking brain to turn on. Bringing that logical center online quickly quiets the hyperactive firing in the alarm brain.
Calling it what it is takes its power away. You are watching the machine instead of being trapped in it. And going back to Michael, the manager, how do you handle all those urgent mental checklists?
You practice delaying the brain dump. When you first wake up, see the tasks, but refuse to sort them for the first 10 to 15 minutes. Let the physical spike settle down. Then, once you are out of bed, do a written brain dump.
Just write it all out.
Write all those worries and tasks down on paper. Moving the load outside of your head takes the heavy weight off your working memory, which hugely cuts down on the urge to overthink.
I do think it is important to check on the weight of what we were talking about. Some people listening might be wondering, is this just standard morning worry, or am I actually having full-blown panic attacks? How do we tell the difference?
That is a great question. A panic attack is usually a sudden, very sharp peak of terror. It happens very fast, often within minutes, and comes with intense physical signs like feeling dizzy, sick to your stomach, or a deep feeling of losing control.
And morning dread.
Morning dread is a lower, spread-out sense of unease. It is a heavy, lingering feeling tied right to the physical process of waking up. Having it doesn't mean you are broken. Though if it is deeply constant and stops your life, it is always worth talking to a doctor to ensure your body is fully supported.
So what does this all mean for you? If you are waking up with your heart pounding and a sick feeling of dread in your stomach, it is not a sign of weakness. It is just your body's natural alarm system running a little too loud before your thinking brain can catch up to turn the volume down.
Exactly.
By seeing how the stress chain works, shifting the timing of your phone and your coffee, getting early light, and using your breath to hit the brake pedal, you can gently retrain your mind. At any age. True growth is not a magic finish line you finally cross. It is a direction you gently choose, built through small, daily moments of awareness.
I want to leave you with a final thought to really chew on today. We spend so much time and emotional energy trying to push down our morning dread. We treat it like an enemy we have to beat just to survive the day. But what is the very chemical energy that makes you feel so jittery and scared right now is exactly the high-level fuel you need to reach your biggest goals once you learn how to steer the ship instead of letting it steer you.
That completely flips the script on how we see our mornings.
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Geeks Mindset has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same thoughtful way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to you, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life. And it helps Geeks Mindset reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the join button right next to the Geeks Mindset logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Mindset Support Circle. Your support helps honest mindset awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Geeks Mindset moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.